I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and this is Graded for NXT, NXT UK and 205 Live, where myself and Tom Campbell take a look at each show, segment by segment, and award each little bit a grade from A+ to F. And it's a bit of a bittersweet episode this week, because we've just learned that 205 Live is going to be folded into NXT, so yeah, the purple brand's disappearing. But tonight we have the tag match main event on 205. We've got Rhea Ripley versus Shayna on NXT, and Tom's got a lot of delicious things going on in the UK. So without any further ado, hit the intro. So 205 Live kicks off this week, and I want to get this right, so I'm going to read it off my bit of paper. We get told that Nigel is unfortunately going to NXT full time when it goes to live TV, and basically he's not there this week. We have a brand new announcer, and that is, bear with me, former NFL offensive tackle for the Houston Texans turned wrestler, trained by Big Bad Booker T, Dio Madden. It's really cool to have him here, but you've just given the poor guy a job right before you fold the brand into NXT. And we kick things off with the match that got everybody hyped last week. We have Kendrick and Tozawa against Jack Gallagher and a mystery opponent. And out comes Jack Gallagher to reveal who it is. But before he does that, he gives the whitest rendition to the opening lyrics to Juicy by Notorious B.I.G. that I have ever experienced. Like whiter than me and Jack, drunk in a club. Really, like, oh. He apologizes for his absence though, and he finally reveals his partner, and it's none other than Kushida. Kushida is in 205 Live. And of course, Kushida dominates early on in the match, trapping Kendrick into an armbar almost immediately. We get some back and forth with Tozawa and Gallagher, but Kendrick is able to sneak a tag, jump into the ring, and drive Gallagher into the ring post. And then they just proceed to spread Gallagher all over the ring as if he was butter on a piece of toast until Kushida gets the hot tag and cleans house. He gets to show off his innovative arsenal in full until we reach a point where he gets ground down and it's sort of a 2-on-1 situation. And then things finish up with Kushida locking in the hoverboard lock on Kendrick, getting the immediate tap and the win for Kushida and Gallagher. This one gets a B+. It was easy to predict, sure, but it was a fun little match. Kushida looked like a star, and I just want to see him take on every single person in the cruiserweight division. We then go to a promo from the Sings, and they say that their time in the studio may have been quite short, but their spirits are healed. We then go to a backstage interview with Mike Kanellis, and he's asked about Tony Nese, and he says, look, I've got nothing to do with this. I just beat him in a match. Like, it's not my fault. He went mental, attacked Tony Lorcan and injured him, and he's now turned heel. It's not my problem. He complains because once again, Tony Nese has managed to find himself in the main event. He beat Tony Nese last week, and where is he? He's just backstage. He doesn't even have a match. He says he's sick of it, and then Maria appears and she says that she's impressed. But she's not impressed with him, she's impressed with how pathetic he is. She says, yeah, you won the match, but what's a win matter? You're not doing anything for your family, you're not doing anything for yourself, you just sort of took advantage of Tony Nese. And then she finishes things off by saying, you know, what's the point of me coming here to just watch you win matches if it's got nothing to do with our family? Mike looks absolutely devastated and just please, Mike face turn, please, just against Maria, it's brilliant, do it. And then we go back to the ring for tonight's main event, which is Humberto, Carrillo and Lince Dorado against Drew Gulak and Tony Nese. Gulak and Nese jump the faces as they're making their entrance, and then out of nowhere, Ariya Daivari comes down and starts attacking Lince as well. It all gets a bit free-for-all until Metalik comes in and saves the day, and then the heels are like, come on, let's get out of here, until Humberto gets on the mic and he's like, no, you're not going anywhere, you three against us three, let's do it now. Things start off with a massive dive from Lince, and they sort of take control of Daivari, and this lasts until Gulak gets in the ring. And Gulak really brings that aggression to this one. He's trying to dismantle Lince piece by piece, just targeting body parts, keeping him in the corner, grinding him down. And then it's at this point that the crowd start chanting for a baby, and like everybody's like laughing about it and, you know, whatever, but I just find it really disrespectful. And then back in the ring, Gulak is just trying to peel Metalik's mask off, and because the fans are still chanting for the baby, he picks up Metalik and starts cradling him and rocking him gently like a baby. Once Daivari's in there though, his cockiness costs them control of Metalik. Humberto gets the hot tag and he cleans up. There's an odd moment where the house lights go out for about 3 or 4 seconds. That was really weird. Like the Tron and everything stayed on, so you knew it wasn't deliberate, but it was just strange. Anyway, Humberto hits a huge moonsault to the outside, wiping out all of the heels. And then one of my favorite things that happened on this entire episode of 205 Live, all 6 guys are up on the turnbuckles. The faces throw the heels to the mat. They're all lying wiped out. The faces go for triple moonsaults, but they are all countered. But once everybody peels out, we're left with Lince and Gulak, and Lince hits the shooting star to pick up the 3, so he ain't winning at Clash of Champions. This one gets an A. It was really well paced, it had solid storytelling, and it was exciting. It had a little bit for everybody except the entire audience who were too busy chanting at the baby. I think it's once again just ramped the excitement up around a match that was sort of thrown together, and all of the competitors look strong, and I'm happy that Humberto didn't pick up the pin because I think it would have been a little bit too forced. But in terms of an overall grade for 205 Live this week, it gets an A-. We had solid matches, we had a great debut for Kushida, there was some good storytelling, you have the mic situation, which I really like, and I hope they capitalize on it. It was all lovely stuff, and it's just a little bit of a shame knowing that 205 Live ain't going to be around for very much longer. But now I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Tom Campbell, who's going to take you through all of the grades for this week's episode of NXT UK.
Am I a joke to you, Belinda? Oh, hi! NXT UK gets underway with Imperium marching out to the ring. The mat is sacred. We are making NXT UK a better place. And they prove their dominance in tag team action as Fabian, Aichner and Marcel Barthel take on Danny Jones and Harry Green. Quick win for Imperium on this one, finishing with the European Bomb, which is that uppercut powerbomb combo they do, 1, 2, 3, and afterwards Walter flattens Harry with a lariat, which is now, I believe, his finisher. He's basically an Austrian Stan Hansen. This match and this whole segment gets a C+. It was fine. Didn't really give us anything new. No ideas for any new challengers for Imperium. They certainly seemed dominant, but it was fine. Sid Scarlett announces that next week we're getting a rematch between Scarlett and Ono, and it's going to be a British rounds match. Get in! A Wednesday night in 2019 is going to feel like a Saturday afternoon in 1986. Jordan Devlin takes on Ashton Smith next. I was expecting nothing from this match other than maybe a showcase for Devlin. Sorry, Ashton, I just was. But hey, I am happy to be wrong. This was a blinder. Ashton Smith has this incredible hybrid move set. He did like a shell shocked into an angle slam at one point, like a fall away slam into a suplex. He just like 1,000 different versions of a drop kick. It's like he's got a drop kick catalogue that he's burning his way through. But Devlin was the man once again in this one. Beautiful springboard cutter. Finishes off with the devil inside, the backdrop for 1, 2, 3. B- on this little sleeper match. Wasn't expecting this to blow my mind as much as it did, but great showing for Devlin and a great showing for Ashton Smith as well. Shadzi was meant to interview Toni Storm, but Toni Storm is nowhere to be seen. So instead, Nina Samuels turns up, says there's a spotlight going begging, so she's going to have it, and she talks about how everybody is still looking at the past that was Takeover Cardiff. They should be looking to the future. The Nina Samuels show. This was fine. Nina Samuels is brilliant, but this felt very scripted and didn't feel like the words were coming out of her mouth. Give Nina Samuels bullet points and she will give you the world. So after the announcement earlier on of the British rounds match for next week, we had a cracking little video package with Nigel McGuinness, William Regal, Robbie Brookside, Johnny Saint, all explaining the round system. It's a world of sports match. It's a world of... We can't call it that, though, because it's the British rounds match happening next week, and I'm excited. It's just a nice bit of wrestling history being WWE-ized, basically. It's Tegan time! My watch ain't broken. Tegan Nox is back after a whole year away recovering from that horrible knee injury. She's in there with Shax. Shax gives her a slap to the face, and Tegan Nox just goes, big old kick to the head. Big old shining wizard. 1, 2, 3, done. What a showcase for Tegan Nox. Very quick order. Out comes Kaylee Ray after this on the mic, and she's upset the fact that when she won the NXT UK women's title, nobody was talking about her. They were all talking about Tegan Nox. And Nox says, let's have a match anytime, anywhere. New title feud cometh. The whole segment I'm giving a B- to. Obviously, the match was really just a quick showcase for Tegan Nox. But everything else around there, I like. I thought Kaylee Ray was good on the mic. I think we're building to a nice women's title feud with a very talented lady from Wales. Yaki Dar Daki Ya. We get a press conference from Noam Dar. He calls a press conference to announce that he is the best wrestler in the world. Okay, mate, that's fine. He's taking questions from members of the press, Trent Seven comes out and he's on the phone, and Trent Seven says, "Oh, please, Drake Maverick, please take him back. We don't want him here anymore." This leads to Noam Dar leaving. Very odd segment. Noam Dar versus Trent Seven in the future. Okay, why not? It's main event o'clock, and it's the grizzled young veterans challenging for the NXT UK tag team titles against the South Wales subculture. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews. They have a blinder, they really do. Andrews and Webster are great at the sell. They're great at pulling sympathy out of the crowd. They didn't need it. They were still in Wales. They loved them. But I love Gibson and Drake as a team. They genuinely give you the impression that every second they're about to win the whole thing. And they nearly do when they go for a ticket to mayhem that doesn't quite come off. We see Drake accidentally super kick Zach Gibson, which leads to a tilt-a-whirl from Morgan Webster and the pieces of pieces shooting star press from Mark Andrews for a 1, 2, 3. The fall to pieces, I should say. Giving this one a B- for a main event. Do you know what? That tag title match at TakeOver Cardiff is a tough one to follow. And this was great. This was still great, but if you need to watch a tag match in NXT and you've only got time for one, make it that triple threat one. This was great, though. Don't underestimate. This was a great match, but that one was better. Overall, NXT UK this week gets a B. This was so much better than last week, which felt like such a dirty hangover from TakeOver Cardiff. This felt like we've kind of got the car back in gear now and we're driving towards some new direction, some nice new momentum for some nice new feuds, some nice new stories as the NXT UK journey continues. Lovely stuff. Sam Driver is on the way back from the Teachers Lounge. I will pass you back to him for NXT UK from Off of America. I love you, bye.
Thanks for that, Tom, and we go straight to NXT, which has a cold open this week of Rhea Ripley coming out of a chauffeured Jeep and walking into Full Sail. We then go straight to the ring for the first match of the night, which is Damian Priest versus Boa. This is a quick and painless one. Priest makes very easy work of Boa with a series of strikes, and he boots a hole in him, and yeah, it just, Priest looks strong. He hits a massive Falcon Arrow, he hits a brutal-looking lariat, and then when Boa fights back, that's when he's sort of just like, how dare you? And he ramps it up even further. He hits the Cyclone Kick and then the Reckoning and picks up the 3. This one gets a C. It was a straightforward, straight up squash. Priest looks like a monster, which is important because as we move toward TV and there's all that time that we've got to fill now for that extra second hour, I think he could really be somebody to keep an eye on if they give him a strong storyline. And Boa can take this loss. He's fairly new to NXT. It's not going to harm him too much. We then get a promo that recaps the Velveteen Dream Roddy Strong feud, and in the promo, the Dream says that if the Dream burns, then Roddy will burn with him. And then we go back to the ring for a Johnny Gargano promo. He's coming out to address his future. So he absorbs the Johnny Wrestling chants for a good couple of minutes, and then he's like, I've heard all of the rumors. Everybody's always asking me, like even my own mum is asking me what I'm going to be doing next. The crowd then start chanting, please don't go, and he thanks them all. He thanks them for making him who he is. He says that without them, there wouldn't be any Johnny Wrestling. Like, he is a direct result of these people. And then just as he's about to reveal what his future plans are, out comes Shane Thorne. Thorne is, of course, bitter about the fans loving Johnny so much, and he's just sort of like, come on, mate, just move on. Bow out, walk away, I'll take your place. NXT isn't going to miss you, I'm certainly not going to miss you, and if anything, it's going to be better for everybody because there's going to be more opportunities. So Johnny goes to walk away, pauses, confirms that he's staying, nails Thorne in the face, and absorbs all of the crowd cheers. Commentary are putting him over hard as an NXT lifer, and this promo gets an A. It was just a really nice promo, it was really well delivered, it was really passionate, and yeah, Thorne came out, Thorne's got genuine heat, the crowd just don't want to see him, but at least he's going to be working with somebody. Maybe if they continue this thing, Johnny can at least get like ultimate heat on him and they can really push him as an annoying like cock, because that's what his character is, isn't it? We then get a vignette about the Forgotten Sons. They tell us who they are, and they are apparently the Savages of NXT. We then get a load of match footage and bog standard vignette. And then we go back to the ring for Pete Dunne versus Angel Garza, and there is a clash of personalities here. Dunne just wants to smash things, Garza just wants adoration and applause. Dunne starts off hot, but things very quickly even out. Both guys have the required speed and technical ability to really make this one a special matchup. Dunne even manages to almost hit the bitter end quite early on, but Garza, being so wily, manages to escape. We then reach a point where Garza sort of has Dunne dead to rights, but he starts playing up to the crowd. He starts showboating, and Dunne grabs his arms and does those like tippy-tappy kicks to his face. Garza's like, enough of this, goes to finish finish him with the springboard moonsault, but Dunn catches him into a triangle, snaps his fingers, and he immediately taps, as he should, because he's just had his fingers broken. Pete Dunne picks up the win via submission, and I'm going to give this match a B-. While it was a great pairing, and it did start off a little bit wild, I felt like overall there was just a teeny tiny bit of a pacing issue. The right man, of course, won. Dunn continues to grow as this violent threat, and it's really good because we need to build that character up, especially if he's ever going to return to NXT UK. You need that. You just need him to look strong. And Garza can eat this loss quite happily because it doesn't matter. The fans love him either way. The second he whaps those pants off, they all just fall in love with him. We then go to the Street Profits, who are in Central Park, and they say that they missed their NXT tag belts, but you know what? It's fine because we're going to be at Raw at Madison Square Garden. But then they say, you know what would be cool though, is if we turned up on the first live NXT, you know, we could just turn up and get those belts back. So, first episode of NXT that goes out live, yeah, Street Profits are going to be challenging for the tag belts by the looks of it. We go back to the ring for Raul Mendoza versus Cameron Grimes, and Cameron Grimes comes out looking like Hank Von Hell. This one's just really back and forth. There is a little bit of craziness, like Mendoza just face plants the floor at one point from the apron. He does his weird like running across the rope thing, which is really cool. But Grimes here is really playing up the opportunistic character. I think it was last week when he said in a promo that he's frustrated he has to start at the bottom. He just wants to be at the top. So if he's just going to run through people like this and sneak out wins with his horrible, brutal finisher, then, you know, makes sense. But he eventually picks up the win over Mendoza with that horrible, brutal, double stompy thing. This one gets a C, and it's sort of neither of the guys' fault. It was a straightforward match. It was just one of those matches that's like NXT just has them sometimes. They just sort of put two guys out there, and I know not every match needs a story, but it just feels sometimes they just go, hey, look, just cobble them together. Like they're going into their toy chest and they pull out two figures, just put them in the ring. We then go to William Regal's office where he is sort of accosted, I guess, by Candice. Candice comes in, she's like, come on, why are you handing so many opportunities to Io? So to appease her, he makes the number one contendership triple threat a four-way and adds it to the match. And then he says, you know, if Rhea Ripley wins tonight, it might end up being a five-way. And then we go back to the ring for Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler. Shayna, interestingly, is not accompanied by the Horsewomen, but you know they're going to get involved at some point, because that's just what they do. They just come running down and ruin things. She goes straight for Ripley's arm, and Ripley manages to shove her to the floor, and then we go into this weird test of strength phase, where it's like really back and forth. Both are desperately trying to just get control. And then there's this really like cool but horrible looking thing that Shayna does. She traps Rhea's leg in the rope, and then kicks the leg she's standing on away, so she's like hanging and bouncing, and then runs back and strikes her again, and it just looked nasty, like you just expecting the leg to just explode. Ripley manages to overcome this. She hulks up, she lays in some strikes, but Shayna catches her into a Kirifuda and then starts climbing the turnbuckles to use her body weight against her. Things spill to the outside. Ripley drops Shayna face first onto the steps, and then out come the Horsewomen. Marina Shafir gets in the ring, Rhea drops her, and Jessamine Duke stays on the outside, sort of causing a distraction, and this allows Shayna to capitalize. Duke passes Shayna a chair, and she goes to strike Ripley with it. Ripley catches it, and then you think she's going to throw it away, but no, she looks at Shayna, she nails her in the back, match gets thrown out, Shayna wins via DQ. This one gets a B. I really want to see more of this. Ripley is like a fresh injection into the women's division that nobody knew it needed. It's already super strong, but now it's just got even stronger. It's crazy. And we got the first taste of what's hopefully going to be a long-term feud here. But in terms of an overall grade for NXT this week, I'm going to give it a B+. It's been a really good setup week, if a little odd in places like the Mendoza-Grimes match, but that main event, just hook it up to my veins. Hook it up to my veins, I want it all. They're really putting the foot on the gas now, building up to that first week of live TV, and I think it's going to be mental, especially the first head-to-head week, which is I think like 3 weeks in. That's going to be ridiculous. I think it's going to be like a mini takeover on an episode of NXT. But anyway, this has been graded for NXT, NXT UK and 205 Live. What did you think of the shows? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And no matter what you do, don't ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.